promised, I decided to make a few video tutorials going over what we did in class today. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to have an image and a text and how you can basically drag those across your composition. First of all, you want to start off with opening up Adobe Illustrator, and you want to make two layers. On one layer, you're going to have your star, or you can go ahead and make it whatever shape you want. And then on the second layer, that's going to be your text layer. And you want to make sure to name your layers so we know later on when we bring it into Adobe After Effects, we know what's going on. So once you have this, go ahead and save it out. I already have it saved. And then jump back over into Adobe After Effects. So now we want to create a new composition. I'm going to click New Composition. All of this is fine, and you want to make sure your background color is white. Click OK. So now you're in your new composition. We want to bring over the Adobe Illustrator file that we just created. So we're going to right click, import file, and click on it. Before you import it, make sure you're importing as composition, retain layer sizes, excuse me. We want to make sure we do this so when we retain the layer sizes, it'll only grab the exact size of the layer and not the entire artboard of the Illustrator file. Click OK. And now here in your comp area, you're going to see your Adobe Illustrator file. Double click into it, and here it is. If your background color changes, don't freak out, because it will happen. Just go down here to where your comp is. Mine was labeled star, maybe you labeled it something else. Click your hamburger menu, and then go to composition settings. Go ahead and change the background color, and click OK. There's another way to change your background color. In your layers panel, you just right click new solid, and then you change it to whatever color, and you drag it to the bottom. I don't really like this because it adds more layers, and that just confuses the crap out of me, but if it works for you, it works for you. Okay, so let's play around with the star first. Highlight the star or the layer, and go ahead and click this little arrow here. So then you'll get another drop-down menu. Go ahead and drop transform down as well. You want to zoom in so you can see your frames. And we're going to go to about 10 frames. And I want to move this off of my composition area. So once I'm at 10 frames, I'm going to go over to position, and I'm going to hit this time here to add a keyframe. Then I'm going to drag this all the way back to 0, and I'm going to change the value. So now we see that it went down and off the composition. If we hit space, it'll come back up. And if you were to use this number value here, it would go up, but it's curling. Okay, so that's pretty simple. That's basically how you move it off your composition. The next thing I want to show you is how you can play around with your text. So let's go ahead and do that. It's the same. You go ahead and highlight the layer. Go ahead and bring it down to the drop-down menu for transform. And then let's start at, let's start at 10 frames. And I just want to rotate this thing like crazy. So we're going to hit the keyframe. We're going to bring it back all the way to 0. And where you see the degree, just go ahead. Go to whatever number you want. So then when we hit spacebar and we play it all together, that's what we get. And that's basically like the most basic transformation elements you can do. You can play around with anchor points and scaling. Let me show you guys what scaling can do. There is a big bug in my room. So for scaling, let's do it on the star. Go ahead and select your star layer. And I think maybe around 7 frames, I want it to scale pretty big. So we're going to enter in a scale keyframe. I'm going to leave it at 100% for now. And I'm going to drag this to 10 keyframes. And I'm going to go ahead and increase the size. So now not only do we have a position keyframe, but we also have scale. Go ahead and bring this all the way back to 0 and hit space. So one thing you guys probably noticed is it pretty much like comes in pretty fast and expands very quickly. On your keyframes, you have something called Keyframe Assistant, and it'll basically help you ease in your objects, ease out your objects, or do both. It's basically a slight fade. Easy ease is my go-to because it applies it for both. And then you see this little, you see your keyframe basically change. Okay, enter, and it comes in a little more smoothly. So yeah, that's basically the first step. It's pretty easy, and I'll show you guys how to do masking next.